readily available fuels that we have today. So we founded the business in 1996 and quite quickly became part of the global group that was pioneering fuel cell technology. And then we started to build small demonstrators and put them in various applications. We showed that solid oxide fuel cells not only could be used for power stations, so megawatt scale applications, but could also be used in small systems, in micro CHP, combined heat and power systems, handheld devices, drones. You can power a drone with a solid oxide fuel cell, and it's quite a popular mode of propulsion right now. But you can also put solid oxide fuel cells onto vehicles, because solid oxide fuel cells create power, but they also create heat, so you can capture the heat from the system and use that heat in heating requirements for vehicles, to make batteries operate better in cold environments, or to provide space heating for the vehicle. So you put these different fuel cells in lots of applications, and increasingly we're seeing a demand for diesel replacement devices. So in construction in particular, but also in other applications such as highways, remote settings, telecoms, we're seeing these different uses appear. So we've been working for 25 years now to build this core technology and market knowledge, and we can really see the hydrogen economy is now accelerating. So we have unique fuel cell patents, like many fuel cell technology businesses, and we build the products ourselves or work with other collaborators to scale up the assembly and manufacturing of components. So we've seen massive recent market growth, but still there is a shortage of hydrogen. So the solid oxide fuel cells can actually bridge that gap, and we say that solid oxide fuel cells are a stepping stone technology towards the hydrogen economy, because if you've been reading the International Energy Authority's recent report, it shows that we don't have enough hydrogen to currently, or even plans to be available by 2030 to meet the climate change goals. So we need to have alternative, potentially fuel cell or different fuels available to support our climate change targets. And really, the drivers for fuel cells and hydrogen generally, there are three key drivers. Decarbonisation is absolutely the key driver at the moment, but also air quality, so poor air quality, especially in cities, but also generally from combustion as a result of combustion. And energy security is currently one of the absolute drivers in Europe especially, but also globally because of the cost. We wrote a book about the history of hydrogen, and you can find this on our website. But it's really important to look back at history and look where the story of hydrogen started in order to understand where the story may progress. And it's interesting to look back, to look at the discovery of hydrogen as an element, and also the difficulties that civilization has encountered in capturing and storing and distributing hydrogen. It is very challenging, but there are new technologies available now to generate hydrogen and to store it safely, and it has been used for over 100 years very safely as a chemical, but now it's being commoditised as a fuel. It will require quite different technologies to ensure the purity as it's distributed widely, and also the safe use in homes. You can look at the global hydrogen technology trend really broken down into three different parts. So you have the power generation side, that this is the supply side of hydrogen, so renewable power is the preference to generate green hydrogen, but there are other ways to generate hydrogen, and that will give it a different colour. And then the hydrogen is then distributed through different means, which are not very well defined at the moment. There's not a great deal of widespread distribution. It tends to be generated in localised places. But then you have utilisation and the demand side of the hydrogen economy as well, and that's where fuel cell technologies sit. So hydrogen is a fuel, and the hydrogen technologies are the technologies that generate the hydrogen, may contribute to the distribution and the purity of the hydrogen, and then also use the hydrogen. And you can see that fuel cells now have been demonstrated widely and in many cases commercially in all these different applications. And so there's a growing fleet of vehicles globally which demand this hydrogen. And it's still slightly chicken and egg. In the UK we have a shortage of hydrogen that's available for vehicles, and that limits the growth of the vehicle population. So there is a big push from government right now to increase the availability of hydrogen and generation capacity of hydrogen for these vehicles, but also other applications. So Avalon is a typical fuel cell technology business in that we have our own technology. We have an experienced team within that technology, and we've got really a unique opportunity now to grow the hydrogen economy, growing our microtubular solid oxide fuel cell design, because there is this massive aggregated demand across all of these different uses. So we're seeing market pull from, as I said, construction, in the oil and gas industry for distributed fuel cells, in the leisure industry for distributed generation, in homes, in remote homes, where power is a bit difficult, and also we see that fuel cells, really our fuel cells, are enabling batteries in things like vehicles, and they're enabling batteries in remote storage, generation and storage of power as well. And the fuel flexibility is a great benefit, so that we can use readily available fuels which are relatively cheap still, and we can then move towards bridging fuels such as biofuels, biogas, bio-LPG, and then formulated fuels to achieve net zero. So we can achieve negative carbon emissions using formulated fuels, for example, generated from waste. So we, in Birmingham, so that Avalon is based in Birmingham, we have a clean air zone, and we're pushing for fuel cells to replace diesel engines, which is currently very common in stationary generation devices. So we have a number of facilities in Birmingham. We have hydrogen facilities and also manufacturing facilities, and we work with a large number of strategic organisations who are looking for a technology to integrate into their products. So it's quite a wide range. So we've got people like Airbus, we work with the construction industry, the automotive industry, the gas industry, the solar industry as well. So it's really an accumulation of many different partners, but ultimately the fuel cell is one part typically of a hybrid system, often working with renewables and regularly working with batteries. And the fuel cell key value proposition is very clear. So when you compare it, for example, against a diesel engine, it's cheaper than running a diesel engine to run a fuel cell in our case, and these are like-for-like comparisons in the field. It's actually 70% cheaper to run a fuel cell than diesel, because the fuel cell uses less fuel, so it's quite simple, it's more efficient, so it uses less fuel. And right now, the fuels that we use, we tend to use bio-LPG, is much cheaper than diesel. It's reliable and long life, and it's got low maintenance, so the total cost of ownership of these fuel cells is now very competitive against diesel engines. The other thing is that fuel cells scale down better than engines, and they scale up better than batteries, so there is a kind of sweet spot where these fuel cells are more commercially viable. In terms of climate, when you do a like-for-like comparison against a diesel engine, even using fossil fuel, then you can save a significant proportion of the carbon. So you can save more than 85% of carbon using the solid oxide fuel cell, even using fossil fuel. And if you move to a bio-LPG, you can reduce that carbon by up to 98%. If you move further towards formulated fuels from waste, then you can achieve negative carbon. And obviously that's a great advantage to some fuel companies. It's a great advantage to businesses that run huge fleets and they require some combustion, so you can do some carbon offsetting using fuel cells as well. And the great thing about fuel cells is their connectivity, they're new devices, they've been designed to operate in off-grid applications. They're portable and elastic, so they respond to the power needs, and they're autonomous and smart operation. So just boiling this down, just to make sure that everybody clearly understands the operation of the fuel cell, we take the greenest gas we can find. So we are hydrogen ready, so we could use hydrogen, but if we don't have hydrogen, we can still use fossil fuel or ideally a bio or formulated fuel to achieve the best carbon signature for the power generation. Then that fuel goes into a fuel cell, solid oxide fuel cell, and typically in our systems they're recharging battery. So you're generating power, you're generating heat, and you can use that heat for cooling as well. So in terms of technologies, it's the cleanest possible technology for reliable off-grid electricity generation. And we say that because we prefer that you to use renewables if possible, but certainly in Britain, renewables are unreliable or intermittent. So it means that we do need to have some kind of backup generator, as I said, that has an elastic capacity to fulfill the needs of the customer. Just an example of setup here for a fuel cell. As I said, it's solar panels, battery, an inverter, with a fuel cell going into the power inverter there, and then we put it into homes or holiday homes or camper vans, and this powers the appliances on board. So, just to give an example of a construction application, this is a construction welfare cabin. So this could be a holiday home, or it could be a garden office, it could be a construction office, or it could be a remote home. And we demonstrated this very clearly that diesel is much more expensive now because subsidies have been removed for red diesel in the UK, and using LPG and bio-LPG is much better in terms of carbon. Again, fuel cell battery, and then powers the appliances. Another example is a sign here. We've got a remote sign which is solar powered, and for 5 months a year it will probably work using the solar panels to recharge the batteries there in the yellow box. But for 7 months a year in the UK, there isn't enough sunlight intensity to generate the solar power, and you require a generator. So by adding fuel cell to this system, you can then leave that system in the UK up to a year. So it just provides that power when required, and it could be quite critical power. This is not a safety critical device, but there could be a railway barrier, which it would be a safety critical device, which again only needs to be switched on at certain times. And this is the real benefit of the fuel cell, especially with LPG as a fuel, which is very stable. And what we're seeing right now is moving towards automotive and plant. So we're working on a number of government projects showing that the solid oxide fuel cell can be put on a vehicle. And we know that solid oxide fuel cell materials, ceramic materials, are already on vehicles. So Bosch make an oxygen sensor which is fitted into many emission systems, and it's basically very similar in construction and material to solid oxide fuel cell. So we know that these systems can be made quite cheaply at volume, and they can also withstand any vibration or operational disruption that the vehicle creates. And we can then generate auxiliary power, and solid oxide fuel cells are regularly used for generating auxiliary power to power electronics, to support refrigeration through chillers, and also increasingly people are looking at solid oxide fuel cells as a range extender and allowing emergency recharging in electric vehicles. So wherever we see an electrified platform, then we can add a fuel cell to provide that little bit of power that we may need for some type of operation. Now that would be critical, for example, in a construction application where the timings of the operation of these vehicles are very difficult to predict, and therefore people will want to have some generating capacity on site to ensure that the vehicle can be driven back. And the additional real benefit, I think, for vehicles is the multi-fuel benefit. So as the hydrogen economy grows and the availability of hydrogen becomes greater, that hydrogen will be used in a number of applications. One will be vehicles, but there won't be enough for all the vehicles that we have. So using multi-fuels, so LPG, LNG, biofuels, and some of those future fuels, these bridging fuels, then we can still achieve a longer range, a lower weight, and a lower volume than batteries, especially in larger vehicles. And so 40 full-ton trucks and buses is a significant target for fuel cell. And this is a project that we're working on at the moment, so it just shows the flexibility of the system being able to be integrated into lots of different propulsion systems, including the auxiliary power on the trucks, motorbikes, and UAVs. So we haven't mentioned too much about UAVs today, but that is a very well-known and established technology. So basically, the technology advantages of a small SOFC is they are lower running costs today. So you don't have to wait for hydrogen, you don't have to pay more for hydrogen. They're a lightweight and portable application, so we tend to make systems that are less than 1 kilowatt, but increasingly looking at multi-kilowatt systems. And they can use multi-fuels, so you're not stuck with one fuel, and you're not stuck waiting for hydrogen. And also, in reverse, the technology does produce green hydrogen, so almost the same architecture of the materials, operated slightly differently and slightly different materials, will generate green hydrogen. So if you do have renewable energy, then you can use this SOEC, so the solid oxide electrolyzer cells, to produce green hydrogen. Of course, this is smart controlled, and we have value-added services, things like carbon reporting and preventative maintenance, which are all valuable within the marketplace and really demanded by customers. And we see lots of adjacent sectors, so distributed power grids is probably one of the biggest markets that we see aside from those that it's mentioned. We also have a relationship and a partnership with Toyota. I drive a Toyota Mirai. It has a 400-mile range, and it's available for short leases. So we put these vehicles into the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham this summer, and so this was the greenest games ever. So we showed how hydrogen could contribute to that ambition. And also we run the Midlands Hydrogen Fuel Cell Network, because we believe that by accelerating advanced manufacturing, we can accelerate the commercialisation of these products to market. So please contact us if this is of interest. We're also operating an as-and toolbox, so we encourage other businesses to join the hydrogen economy, and this toolbox is really providing information to those businesses, but also understanding those businesses to see where hydrogen and fuel cell will fit and give them value. And there are a number of big businesses that have pledged to commit to hydrogen. I will name Tesco Metal Group are committing to the production of electrolyzers, the use of hydrogen in their operations, with a view that this will save them money over time. So there is real value for businesses to invest in hydrogen now. There's one last case study, the HGVs. We looked at supply chains for fuel cell, hydrogen fuel cell HGVs in the Midlands, and we identified all of the suppliers to contribute to the supply chain of, there are roughly 20 hydrogen truck manufacturers as well around the world. We found 5 in the UK, and then we identified localised supply chains that can support the UK manufacture of those trucks. And we found that 85% of the hydrogen fuel cell truck could be made in the Midlands. So what we were really trying to do was identify the supply chain requirements for those products. We wanted to target the gaps in the Midlands to see where the transferable skills were between regional sectors and all of the existing supply chains. And then we wanted to show the growth opportunities, so really transferable skills, but also looking at the GVA and jobs that's generated by those. And so we have a model that looks at different hydrogen technology supply chains. It could be any product. In this case, it was a hydrogen truck, but you can look at a boiler, you could look at an electrolyzer. It doesn't matter. You can then calculate how to use many of the readily available fuels that we have today. So we founded the business in 1996 and quite quickly became part of the global group that was pioneering fuel cell technology. And then we started to build small demonstrators and put them in various applications. We showed that solid oxide fuel cells not only could be used for power stations, so megawatt scale applications,